My name is Bill Ford. Actually, it's William, but everybody called me Bill.
And which yard did you live in?
And I lived in Atherstone Yard, which is, talking to old Atherstone people, is in the Hollow in Long Street. Right, well, I was born in 1925 and I lived in the same house that my great-great-granddad lived in. And he lived in Atherstone Yard. I've verified this by going through the censuses and all like this. And I had one or two little memories. I could never remember what the house was like, but I do remember that my dad at the time, he worked at Sales Warehouse in South Street, and I can remember him bringing petrol home, and we had a bonfire in the yard. And also I can remember an old man coming round collecting bones. What they used them for, I presume they melted them down for glue and things like this. And I thought about this in later years, and I thought, well, I must confirm this, whether it's true or not. So I saw an old lady who was much older than me, and I asked her, and she confirmed it, and she also confirmed the name of the person who it was. And
do you remember that man's name?
Yes, his name was George Briley.
George Briley.
Yeah. And then we left. There was me, my mother and dad, and my two sisters. We moved up into South Street. It used to be Sales Warehouse offices, but when they pulled those down, it is now the council house in Atherstone. And I went to the Catholic school. Although I wasn't a Catholic, it was only just round the corner in Owen Street, the Catholic school used to be. And my dad more or less saw the teachers every day, and he got me and my two sisters in. I started school when I think I was just turned 5, and I always say that I'm always thankful for the teachers who were at that school, because they were very strict, but it taught us kids a great many things. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
But can you remember anything about the yard? Did you go through an arched way, or was it open? Were the houses on both sides? Just what can you remember of that?
Yeah, I remember at the top of the yard was a little house, and a little old lady used to live there. And this little old lady used to go round on a Monday morning getting clothes in, taking them to the pawn shop, and then go in on Friday and fetching them out. Yeah.
Did she have a pram?
She had a pram that she went round, yes.
Lovely.
Yeah. And that was the left-hand side of the yard. On the right-hand side of the yard was Fox's Butchers, and next to that was Briggs's Butchers.
Oh, right.
And then just topside that was the pub, which is still standing there, which is the Black Horse.
Oh.
So when you went into this little yard, you went, it was as dark as you went in, but there was a wall on your left and a little gap in between it, and in there was a row of houses. I can't remember much about those because never knew the people much, but going down the yard, in the first house was a little old man. His name was Tommy Coley, and it was also always known as Atty Coley. And he always used to tease me, according to how my mother and dad told me. He used to take me dummy off me.
Oh, you was running about with a dummy.
Yes, I can also remember this. And then there's 2 or 3 more houses down the yard, and then our house, and then another one at the bottom. But at the bottom of the yard, it was blocked off because there was a foundry the other side. And this yard, it was right opposite where the tannery used to be. That's as much I can tell you as I can remember about the yard. But
do you remember if you had any electricity at all? Or
no, there was no electricity.
Did you have just? Do you remember your mum doing any cooking, or do you remember sitting up a table?
I kind of didn't remember anything about
own
life.
No, that's fine.
I can't remember anything about it.
Not a copper in the corner.
No, it wasn't big enough for coppers. They had a wash house which used to supply for about 6 or 7 houses down there.
Oh, a wash house.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of toilets down there, that's all.
Well, you remember having to go to the toilet in the night when it was cold and dark? It must have been quite frightening as a child if you had to go outside.
I can't remember that much, but I can remember when I tell you, we moved into South Street, and eventually they wanted the offices for something, so we moved into a house in Long Street where Woolpackway car park is now.
Oh, right.
And the 2 houses either side a yard there, that was Kitchen's buildings. And Kitchen's buildings used to come through into South Street, and at the top of the yard was the old guide hut, and that was opposite the miners' welfare, where what's the Cook's Close and all that's there now, isn't it? And in that house, talking about a few years afterwards, when they was pulled down, they found some coins in one of the old chimney breasts, and they believe that these coins belonged to a soldier, because the house where we lived, it used to be a coaching inn years ago, and they think that this soldier hid these coins, and whatever happened to him they do not know, but when they pulled the houses down they found these coins.
Wow.
And funnily enough, we went, a few years back, we went to Warwick Museum, and I asked if I could see them, and he says, well, you know how it is, we can't get everything out, but if ever you come again, let me know when you're coming and we'll get them down for you to see.
Oh, nice.
But we've never been since, so...
No, we didn't go.
But, and the other thing about this yard, where Woolpackway stood, was that in the years gone by they'd pulled most of the houses down up the yard, but there was 2 toilets stood there, and we hadn't got new toilets in the house, so we had to walk 50 yards up to the toilet every time you wanted to go. And strangely enough, a funny little thing, at that time of day, the rag and bone men used to come round with chickens.
Live chickens?
Live chickens. Oh, if you took some rags out, mind you, there's got to be wool. If you took ordinary cloth out, you'd only get a balloon or something, so there's got to be wool to get chickens. And we all seemed to find some wool from somewhere, and we all used to have these chickens. Oh, we'll keep these till Christmas. But when Christmas come, there was pets, you couldn't kill them. But in the house next door, the Millses used to live there, and they'd got a daughter named Kitty, and we had about 3 or 4 of these cockerels in the yard, you know. They used to roam about. They used to roam into Long Street as well. And every time she went up the toilet, there was one of these cockerels used to watch her go, and he used to stand outside, wait for her coming out. She said, "Ma'am, come and fetch me, will you?" That was so funny, you know. You know, there's little things like this that stand in your memory. And then we lived there during the war years, and when the war first started, obviously we used to go in shelters, and it got to the stage where it was too much trouble. They're not after us, and we used to go and stand up the yard, and we used to see the planes coming over from Coventry and Birmingham and turning and then going back again like this. You see the Ack fire and all that.
Germans.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got some wonderful memories of all these things.
Do you remember anything about the ball game at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can remember the ball game. Matter of fact, I've got a photo of George Formby and Ken Dodd throwing the ball out. Yeah, yeah.
We're gathering all these memories together for in future as well. You see, so if you've got any
and a matter of fact,
good memories of Atherstone, we can collate it into.
A matter of fact, my daughter now, my youngest daughter's nearly 60, and I've got a photo of her. A matter of fact, I saw it when I went down to an exhibition what they had down at the White Hart, and I saw this photo with 2 policemen, and they asked if they knew who it was, and I went and told them who it was. It was my daughter, yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
And my grandson, a few years back, he got the golden penny.
Oh.
Yeah. The ball game, it's always been a part of my life because I'm a big believer in keeping old things alive.
Yes.
I'm a big believer in this. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
No, just is there any special tales you have of Atherstone that you remember? Do you remember the market or any of the slaughterhouses?
Oh yeah, I remember the market when they got the gas flares going. This is when the town hall was up there. And by the way, talking about a town hall, that's where we used to go and sleep when I was in the Home Guard. Because every 8th night you had to stop there. Because on a Saturday night, the men who were on afternoons and nights used to do Saturday night. But eventually, when they pulled the town hall down, we moved to the co-op hall. But years ago, when they used to have the market, it used to be round where the town hall was, and there used to be a woman come in a lorry, and she used to sell bananas. She was also known as the banana woman. And she used to pick these bananas out here, shove them in a bag, and then obviously now and again she'd chuck one out. If you was lucky, you had banana for your tea that day. So she was also known as a banana woman. And also, it sticks in my memory that on a Tuesday, on market day, they also used to get fish, and it was that yellow fish, haddock, is it? The yellow one, I think it's haddock.
Yeah.
And we always had haddock for tea, and I never liked fish, but you had to eat it in them days, else you didn't have anything else. Yeah. And talking about rationing and things like this now during the war, people say, why are you so well at this age? And I put it down to that we never had rubbish during the war.
That's what my mum says, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't afford
Didn't
all
have
these sweet
sweets
things,
or
could you?
No, you couldn't have sweet things.
You know the butchers back in the yard? Did they slaughter their animals there, or did they buy the meat in? Do you remember anything about that at all?
There was a slaughterhouse at the back there, I think.
Was there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost sure. Because in later years, they had a slaughterhouse at the back of the Black Horse, where the flats are now. There used to be a slaughterhouse there years ago. But I don't think it belonged to these 2 butchers at the time. I think Foxes had their own slaughterhouse at the back there. Can't remember.